All right. Jamie McLennan usually joins us on Wednesdays. He's joining us on Tuesday. He's joining us the morning after a loss to the Buffalo Sabres. Noodles, you picked the wrong day to hop on this show, man.
Well, I don't know. I mean, we can discuss what's good, what's bad, what's going on. All hell breaking loose. Our pets' heads are falling off. I mean, how's the temperature this morning? I mean, watching last night's game, there were a few guys that probably shouldn't have put their gear on because they didn't really want to work last night. They didn't want to play. So it happens. You're on a long road trip. You got to find a way. I kept thinking about it. 7 games. You got to come home 4-3.
Yeah.
So they're 2-2. They got to figure it out. But both of their losses, I wouldn't say they were self-inflicted. Last night, Buffalo outplayed them. I thought Buffalo was the better team. Buffalo's, I believe, won 5 of 6 at home, so playing very well. But where do you want to start? I mean, there were so many things to unpack of what I watched last night.
Yeah, there was. I mean, well, let's start here. What was the most glaring issue for you last night watching that hockey team?
Lack of dedication to detail. And that was in all 3 zones, but especially in their own defensive zone. They've gotten away from, there's times where you're like, okay, what are they playing? What is their defensive structure? Right? Is it a man-on-man? Is it a zone defense? I don't know what they're playing, but they look disorganized in their own zone. They look like they just follow the puck around. I call it the dog park defense. That's what it is. And the D are just standing there. And I would be fine if you were heavy in front of the net. Nobody pays the price to get inside ice. I think 25 and 96 probably shouldn't have put their gear on last night because they were both awful.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Regula is coming, but, he had his worst game against Carolina. I think he's a project. But Kulak looks a shell of himself right now. And I would say that top pair, Bouchard and Ekholm, have looked good. Like they've been all right. Like they've been working better together and look like they at least have a little bit of jump. But the 4 below them have been no good. And then you can lay some defensive miscues by the forwards. Like the forwards have to help the D out. You just don't come back and circle around the zone and hope to not get hit by the puck from the point. I mean, it's evident that none of them want to block shots, which is fine. McDavid and Draisaitl, please don't block shots. Everybody else, you can get in the lane. You're that's the way I look at it. But the defensive zone is a mess, and if I have to lay it all on, like, the players go out and play, but the coaching, I mean, you got to find a way. There's no accountability. Wallman makes a soft plays right back out there next shift. Like, to me, there has to be some form of like, hey, we're gonna this is the way we need to play. And if you don't want to play like that, I'll find somebody else who will play that night. And to me, that hasn't happened. And now you're 20 games in.
Yeah, Noodles, there's a lot of chicken and egg kind of going on here. And you mentioned Bouchard and Ekholm. I mean, Bouchard even last night, Ekholm +1. There's certain nights where there's one thing and then certain nights where it's another. But whether it's management getting players or players needing to play better or coaching and all that, I just wanted your thoughts on, because we've talked about it sometimes with Bouchard and the lack of Paul Coffey around. And now I kind of feel that with the offense and 5-on-5 and everything, and then a guy like Gulletson who really worked well, it seemed, from all accounts, with the big dogs, like, where would you rank Gulletson and Coffey not around anymore on that coaching bench in terms of kind of the whole list of the problems facing the Oilers right now?
Well, I think it's massive because you bring in Paul McFarland, you have Mark Stewart there. Like, these are guys that, for all due respect, I mean, Glenn Gulletson has been a head coach in the National Hockey League and knows how to run a power play. It's no secret. All of a sudden you look at Dallas's power play, I think it's second in the league or at least top 3. Paul Coffey, there's things I loved about Paul and things that I would assume behind the scenes. I don't think he was an ultra detailed coach as far as probably going over video and hammering it home. But Paul was a guy who, they look back there's a Hall of Famer who's, got 1,500 points in the league or whatever he's got and going, this is a guy who knows how to play, knows how to read plays, knows how to react. So he was an unbelievable influence on guys like Bouchard, guys even like Kulak, handling the puck, making plays, decision-making. I look at it. I don't know how detailed that whole group is. I don't know if they're doing an hour of video a day and going, here's your positioning. Because to me, if I'm a player and I'm watching where I am on the ice and going, that's not acceptable. Like, is anybody going over? I'll never forget this conversation. Seth Jones, and this is going to sting for Edmonton fans, but he was on the ice after he lifted the cup and he came and was talking to us. So Seth Jones has won a Stanley Cup. And we asked him about his transition from Chicago to Florida. And he said, Sylvain Lefebvre worked for hours. He said, it took me weeks to learn how to play for the Florida Panthers. The details. He goes, it was hour after hour in the video room of learning how to play, the details. That's Seth Jones, who makes $9 million a year. You think he's a pretty good defenseman? Florida's going, you got to play like this or you're not going to play for us. So do the Oilers have that? Do they have that attention to detail? I don't know. I can't speak for Chris Knobloch and that group. I'm sure they're very hardworking guys. I'm sure they're very detailed, but their team doesn't look detailed. And when you struggle or don't have your legs or your mind on any particular night, you have to rely on your system. Well, let me ask you, what is the Edmonton's defensive system? Because they don't seem to have one. They seem to just float around and try and get the puck off the opposing players and head the other way. And to me, guys who aren't detailed or are not playing to the top of their game, they're getting exposed. Darnell Nurse and Jake Wallman are a lot better players than they're showing. Kulak is a lot better player than he's showing. Now, I'm saying that's the D. We haven't
well,
even gotten to
but another issue with the D is that I know when I've seen a lot of people in the market be complaining about it, is that they're not moving the puck up near as well as they had been in the past, right? Like that also is another issue with the defense right now. And a blue line that some people thought were going to be really good this year. I mean, when they can't get the puck out of their own zone, Noodles, how are you going to generate anything at the other end? I
think the only guy who doesn't move the puck well is Regula. Yeah. And I think he's very limited, but he's a work in progress, and I think he's a big body that can use his frame. All he has to do is make a simple play. But the other five are a lot better puck handlers. And the problem is their forwards aren't back helping them out, giving them lanes, giving them support. They're always defending in their own zone. So how do you play against the Edmonton Oilers? Make them play in their own zone. That's how you play against them. Because then that tires them out, and then they start running around and they give up chances. And I'm not going to lay that loss at Stu Skinner's feet. I thought they gave up gave up 22 high danger chances last night. That's way too much. But most nights, I have said this, the other goalie at the other end has been the better goaltender. So, I'm not absolving the goaltending, but certainly last night's game was not Stu Skinner's fault. It was everybody but his. But, you need a save here or there. There's still probably one or two you're looking at going, probably could have if you fight for a better sight line or your better positioning. Even the penalty kill goal against, that's your man. They leave that man one-on-one. He just makes a play and goes around the body. You got to be able to move laterally in the net. So there's a lot to unpack there. But again, it wasn't Stu Skinner's fault. The group in front of him just didn't play very well.
Jamie McLennan with us on the show this morning here. You can text us anytime, 780-218-9999. I thought last night, as soon as they faced any sort of adversity, even before that a little bit, they went to McDavid and Draisaitl with Hyman. And McDavid and Draisaitl necessarily, I don't think, has been brilliant this year through 5. They've only got 4 regulation wins, for goodness sakes. But I think Draisaitl with Roslovic and Podkolzin has probably been their most consistent line. But this I saw last night pop up from Natural Stat Trick. So far this season, when McDavid and Draisaitl are off the ice, so when it's whatever other combination, but those two guys aren't on the ice, they've scored 9 goals and they've given up 30. It's a 23% goal share, which is, 20% worse than anything we've seen here over the last 4 or 5 years. So this is my roundabout way of asking a question on, are they getting enough from anybody else? And I know it's easy to say they could probably use more from McDavid and Draisaitl too, but what are you seeing from the rest of the line? Because outside of Roslovic, there's really no legitimate offensive threat.
You're right. Trent Frederick, I don't know right now. He looks like a contest winner. I don't know what the hell has gone wrong.
1
with him.
point in 20 games.
High
man.
ankle sprain.
You're right, but like he doesn't, like his pace isn't there, his timing isn't there. Like the other guy I've been disappointed with is Henrique. Henrique looks his age, and when you have guys like that you expect more out of, they're not playing well. They're just not playing to their capabilities. And Henrique is a guy that, for me, when you have RNH back, and if you decided that you were going to go McDavid into Draisaitl into RNH into Henrique, that's supposed to be a pretty, deep center. You start moving guys around. But I look at it like Knobloch's trying to find some magic, and, Mangiapane's in and out. He made a great play on the Roslovic goal where he drove the middle of the ice that allowed Draisaitl to get it to Roslovic. Mangiapane has not been very consistent, but you can see like samples of it. I like Janmark. I know a lot of people don't like Janmark. I like Janmark because he's a good penalty killer. He works hard. He's a pain in the ass to play against. He's just not overly skilled. That's the truth. But he is a good, like, heavy body that can be physical and kind of get underneath the skin and be an agitator. That's kind of what they need. They need that from Frederick. And to be honest, I was thinking this morning, people are, including myself, are talking not great about Frederick, but he is the type of player that you acquire at the deadline, and you say you need a big body who can play. If you're going to go deep in the playoffs, you need somebody who can be physical. He just needs to establish his game and find his game. But Kapanen's speed and size and his physicality. If Hyman wasn't snake bitten a little bit, I mean, he has a wide open net in the back door.
Yeah.
Greenway makes a great play. Like, there was some chances to kind of not lose that game last night. And the minute they let it get away, that was it. And it comes back to attention to detail. But you're right. The shot share, the bottom six haven't been good enough. And Savoy is a guy, if you're going to play in the top six and get opportunities, Roslovic set him up for two dandies. You got to find the back of the net. That's what you're like. Top six players, when you're getting grade A's, you've got to score on some of your chances. So there's lots to unpack there. But I would say in your bottom six, there's guys that are passengers that when everybody's healthy, they might find themselves out of the lineup.
Noodles, let me ask you this. Because we got into this, it came up on a text in the 6 o'clock hour, but somebody was like, at what point do you have to start to look at the coach and maybe a change? And I'm like, he's gone to back-to-back Stanley Cup finals. Like, it's just, I don't know how that's viewed outside of the market if you fire a coach who's gone to back-to-back Stanley Cup finals. But, I mean, how much of this do you hang just on Knobloch?
Well, if there's percentages, I mean, I would say 80% on the team and 20% on the coaching.
Okay, yeah,
I mean,
that sounds fair.
It's not like Knobloch can't put the gear on and block shots if he's a forward. He can't, make a simple play from the back end instead of taking it back into traffic and hoping to beat somebody. Too many drive-by players from 6'4" defensemen, from wingers that are losing battles or too slow to get there. Like, to me, there's a lot of different things, but I think it comes back to accountability as well. I've watched every minute they've played this year. All I can think of is where Bouchard missed a couple shifts. That was it. I don't. Has anybody else missed a couple shifts where it's like, that's not acceptable? You're not going back out there until you smarten up. Like, to me, that's the next thing. The only bullet a coach has is ice time, because the players are going to outlast them because they make more money and they probably have longer term contracts. So it's more about, the coach can say, you don't want to play this way, you're not going to play. I played for Jacques Lemaire. Jacques Lemaire used to say, he would joke with Marian Gaborik. He'd say, Gabby, you do that again, you're going to come sit next to me. And he goes, you do it again, you're going to sit and watch in the stands. Like, that's what he would say. Like, that's the type of stuff. There was this accountability of, you're going to play a certain way. This is our standard. I just don't think the team has played up to their standard consistently. And, the coach has to hold their feet to the fire within reason. You can't be yelling and screaming every night, but you have to find a way where everybody goes, this is a standard we play at, and if we don't live up to it, you're not going to play.
Noodles, as always, buddy, we appreciate the time, man. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for having me.
There you go. That is Jamie McLennan joining us on the Firehouse Subs hotline with 15 Firehouse Sub locations across Edmonton and the greater area. It's easy to grab a hot and hearty sub close to home. Firehouse Subs, hot, hearty, and made to satisfy.